Let's differentiate pressure and stress. Pressure is where you are being asked to do something, maybe under a bit of time. You've been time boxed, or you've been asked to stretch into some skills which perhaps not that common to you, and it's causing a bit of a tempo upbeat in your heart rate and all that sort of stuff. If it's the right sort of pressure, you will rise to that challenge and take it on. Put a sporting analogy around it. Look at Scotland in the recent Six Nations, who came out at half-time 31-0 down to England and bounced back with tremendous force. That is competitive pressure working to its ultimate in my book. Where pressure becomes too much, it flicks a gear and becomes stressful. Stressful creates, and I'm sorry, I'm not a clinical scientist, but I'm led to believe it generates certain hormones in our systems which leads to negative energy inside our bodies and can go on a downward spiral. Pressure is usually short term, I believe, and when the immediacy of that incident or challenge or whatever it is that's led to the burst of pressure, once you're through it, and for some people it might be as simple as making a phone call to an uncomfortable person that they're not looking forward to making, but when that's done, it's done, and the pressure systems release themselves and you go back to feeling okay again. However, if you're stress builds up over a long period of time, and if left unchecked will remain with you, even after having to cope with other pressure situations. So I think the challenges of stress and pressure are those two things. Where is the line drawn? And I think one of the next things that senior business leaders need to understand, that we're not all robots, as I often say. Different people have different capabilities. They have different learning styles, of course, but they also have different stress tolerances. Generally, most business leaders end up being in senior leadership positions because they can take on big challenges. And what sometimes they forget is that the challenges that they're able to take on and therefore overtake other colleagues along the way they have extra skills and abilities that allows them to do that, which their colleagues didn't have. So when senior people of that mentality or capability get up to senior levels, assume that everybody else should be like them, which is something that often happens. So the fact that you as a senior business leader think you're under a load because you're coping with shareholders, you're coping with the board, you're coping with staff, you're coping with clients, you're coping with legal problems or whatever, finance issues, and a whole plethora of issues that some of your team members don't have. Well, you're actually skilled and tooled up to be able to do that as a personality. But your engineering staff, if you're an engineering firm, or your accountants in a firm of accountants, aren't. And why do they always assume that, just because I've had a tough ride getting there, why don't you man up, as it's often said, and get on and cope with it yourself? And that's just an unrealistic expectations of people, really. So for me, that's where the first breakdown happens, is that senior leaders need to understand the behavioural responses of different personality types. And once they do, they can put better support structures in place, and support doesn't mean employment assistance programs. This means your leader, your direct boss, providing you the support, which you might need guidance, advice, or just time to talk it through. That's what I mean by support in this context, really. It's having that energy and that understanding and duty of care, actually. I've done it personally in running pretty large teams over time, and actually the one thing that will make the difference isn't my superior knowledge, which actually I realise I don't have half the time. I think I do, but I don't. But I can listen to people and then make an informed decision. And you know what? One of the best sources of alleviating work-related stress is just listening to people, because generally they have the answers. And if you give them the moment to hear what they have to say, and actually you then take forward their answers, guess what? They feel a lot happier in the process.